All right, so today we're diving deep into, well, I guess you could say fire, but not literally.
Haha, right. Fire is a metaphor, but a powerful one.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking at this poem called On Fire.
By Blaize On'Fyah.
Yes. Now, if you've been following along with our deep dives, you might recognize that name.
Oh, for sure. Her Lovers and Haters series.
Exactly, that whole series that digs into all the messy bits of relationships. This poem, On Fire, is actually from the second book in the series, the Accountability Edition. And let me tell you, this poem doesn't pull any punches.
Yeah.
It's raw, it's powerful, and it takes you on a journey.
You hit the nail on the head. It's not just some light, fluffy piece about flames. This is about going through the fire, coming out the other side.
And that's what we're going to unpack today. We're going to look at how this poem uses the imagery of fire, how it talks about pain and resilience, and ultimately, finding that strength within yourself.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it. It starts with this line, to love or not to love, that is the question. I mean, right off the bat, you're hit with this sense of inner turmoil, right?
Yeah, no kidding. It's like, boom, we're right there in the thick of it with the speaker. And I think it's so interesting how Blaize On'Fyah starts with that line because, well, it's almost like a direct quote, isn't it?
It is. It's from Hamlet.
Exactly. And by using that, she's instantly setting the stage for this whole internal struggle. We know Shakespeare's Hamlet was all about doubt and indecision,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And so by echoing that, Blaize On'Fyah is signaling that this poem is going to be about wrestling with those same kinds of tough choices, but in the context of love and relationships.
Yeah, I see that. And then that's like the speaker tries to shield themselves from more pain, right? The poem goes, closed up my heart till it was as cold as ice, but only for protection. It's heartbreaking, but also relatable,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, who hasn't felt the need to build walls around their heart after getting hurt?
Right. But then it's not just this abstract coldness, right? It goes deeper. There's this whole section about a creeper character. The language there, it's so visceral, so uncomfortable, but it really paints a picture of the trauma.
It does. I mean, it's tough to read for sure, but I think that's the point. She's not shying away from the rawness of that experience. It's meant to make us uncomfortable, to make us confront the reality of abuse.
Yeah, and it goes on to talk about feeling lost, so alone and so afraid. Those lines just hit you in the gut.
And they really highlight that isolation that so many people who've experienced abuse feel, that sense of being trapped in your own pain. It's a really important point that Blaize On'Fyah is bringing up here.
Definitely. And then there's this shift, right? Like a cry out from the depths.
Mm-hmm.
The speaker calls out to God. It feels like a turning point.
Oh, absolutely. That's where we see the seeds of resilience starting to sprout. That moment of desperation, that reaching out for something bigger than yourself. It's the beginning of a transformation. And, one thing that really struck me was how she uses the word rise. It's capitalized throughout the poem. It's like a mantra, a declaration.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like it's not just a word, it's a statement.
Exactly. It's about refusing to be defined by your past, by your pain. It's about choosing to rise above it.
And then she introduces this image of the blue flame. What do you make of that? It's such a strong visual.
It is, and it's so symbolic, right? Because fire, it can be destructive, sure, but it can also purify. And blue flames, they burn the hottest. So I think the blue flame here represents that inner strength, that resilience that comes from going through something incredibly difficult and coming out the other side. It's like the speaker is saying, I've been through the fire and I've emerged even stronger.
That's a really powerful way to look at it. It's like the speaker is reclaiming the fire, turning it into a source of power.
Exactly. And then there's this line that really resonated with me. Now I love, and I love his people too. It's like, after all that pain, there's still this capacity for love and even forgiveness.
Right. It's incredible. It's like saying, you didn't break me. I'm choosing to love anyway.
Yeah, and not just romantic love, but a love that extends even to those who have caused hurt. That's such a difficult, but ultimately transformative kind of love.
Yeah, it really speaks to the power of healing and letting go.
It does. And then the poem ends on such a note of peace. I put my trust in God because I have nothing to fear. It's like a complete 180 from the fear and doubt at the beginning.
It really is. It's like the speaker has found a place of complete surrender and acceptance.
It's a powerful reminder that even in the midst of our struggles, we can find peace and strength through faith.
So, we've talked a lot about the imagery and the emotions in On Fire.
Yeah.
But what do you think listeners can take away from this poem?
I think it's a poem that speaks to anyone who's ever gone through something difficult, whether it's heartbreak, loss, or even just feeling lost and alone. It's a reminder that even when you feel like you're in the depths of despair, There's always a possibility of rising above it.
Exactly. It's about finding that inner strength, that resilience that we all have within us.
And it's about the transformative power of faith, whether that's faith in a higher power, faith in yourself, or even faith in the goodness of humanity.
I love that. It's a message of hope and resilience.
Mm.
And I think it leaves us with a question, How has your own experience with pain shaped your journey? It's something for us all to think about.
It is. And if anyone wants to explore more of Blaize On'Fyah's work, I highly recommend checking out her Lovers and Haters series. There's so much wisdom and insight to be found in her writing.
Absolutely. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.